In this video, we have a bunch of details on Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2's DMZ mode. This information is coming from Cinema, who has been contacted by a source who has apparently already played the game. Of course, like with leaks and rumors, this all needs to be taken with a grain of salt, since it is coming from an early playtest build. There's a lot of stuff that could change until it releases, or stuff might just be in testing that is not actually finalized, as they're just trying to get data on how different things work in-game. It does look like this information is coming from a legitimate source though, and it seems like Warzone 2 is going to be a lot more like Blackout than the original Warzone, which I think is a good thing because it's going to make it differentiate from the original, as well as it will cater to both fans of Warzone and Blackout. We haven't had much details on Warzone 2 thus far, apart from apparently what the map is going to be based on, but according to the source, the map is beautiful and is the perfect blend between vibrant and dull with extremely good graphics, and because the graphics are so good, they don't know if Warzone 2 is going to be available on last-gen consoles, and it does make sense that Warzone 2 will just be PC and next-gen only, since you will still apparently be able to play the old Warzone on old-gen consoles still, and it kind of defeats the point of having a Warzone 2 if they're still going to bring it over to last-gen consoles. It's just going to limit the potential of the game. There wouldn't be any point in creating a Warzone 2 if they're still going to be held back, as they are with the original Warzone. Next up, there's apparently a new bag system that is similar to looting in Blackout, and you are able to put any item in the bag, including a weapon, so you can essentially carry 3 guns to normal and have one that you manually have to pull out of your bag's inventory. However, the weapons you find around the map will still have pre-built attachments on them, unlike Blackout, so it's going to be the same weapon rarity system. There is a field deploy which makes you similar to the Doctor from Rainbow Six Siege, where you can shoot yourself or a teammate to revive them. There were 65 guns in the build that this user got to play. Apparently the map felt smaller than Caldera, but slightly bigger than Verdansk. There is an FOV slider on next-gen consoles. This was to be expected anyways. There are actually some returning classic maps within this new map, one of which is High Rise, and the other leaker, Tom Henderson, has given some further information on some other points of interest. So High Rise is apparently located at the top of the map under the point of interest named Modern City. It does seem like Modern City might just be a placeholder name right now, since that's very generic, and it might be given a new name by its release, but it's essentially just a large city with a lot of skyscrapers and tall buildings, which will satisfy players that have missed Verdansk from the original Warzone. Another remade section is Quarry, which is located at the top left of the map. Then we have a terminal located on the bottom right of the map under the point of interest name Airport, and is one of 3 locations on the map with a large stronghold, and I'll get onto the strongholds in a second since that's a new feature. We then have Afghan, which is located towards the middle of the map but slightly to the left under the point of interest name Caves. He said there were several other point of interest locations that could include more Modern Warfare maps too, including Mountain Town, which is located next to the observatory in the middle of the map, which could include Favela, but those are just guesses, so don't take that exactly as fact, although none of this information in this video should be taken as fact since it's just coming from a early build of the game. I'll get into the rest in a second, but first of all I have a quick sponsored message to share for you. The American Civil War was one of the most famous battles in world history, and now you can be the hero by demonstrating your power on the battlefield with War and Peace Civil War Clash, available on iOS and Android devices. Build your military base, building, develop war tactics, and command your army to fight in the battles set on battle maps based on historical events. Side with the Union and Abraham Lincoln, or join the Confederacy with Jefferson Davis. Equip your army with Civil War military weapons and artillery, and fight against other players in PvP battles. If intrigued, download and play the game right now using the link in the description. So Strongholds, this is a new feature, and it's going to essentially be the replacement to loadout buys. However, according to the source, they did actually request that they prefer to have regular loadouts in the game, similar to the original Warzone that you just buy with cash. Well, it seems like they're apparently replacing the loadout buy system with Strongholds, which are located across the entire map and will give players something additional to do instead of just buying a loadout at a buy station. There's apparently around 25 to 30 of them spread across the entire map, so around just as many as the regular buy stations we've been accustomed to. There are several different tiers of strongholds too, with 3 large strongholds and around 20 to 25 smaller strongholds scattered around the map. Strongholds are typically guarded by AI and contain objectives that you need to complete in order to gain access to your loadout. These objectives include things like securing a bomb, collecting intel or dog tags. Presumably the harder the stronghold, the bigger the reward. Not all points of interest have strongholds too, and apparently these strongholds really remind the source of it kind of feeling like a mini Spec Ops mission or a campaign mission. Since this information broke, there's been a lot of community backlash complaining about this, and when Caldera first was released, they tried to remove the loadout drops, at least at the start of the game, but then ended up bringing them back. So it's clear that Infinity Ward and Raven Software are thinking about removing the loadout drops, or at least having a different way to obtain them, but I can honestly see them tweaking this, so maybe they have strongholds and the regular loadout drops you can buy, and maybe there's like 50% of each. We are very far away from launch now, and this is just in testing, so this doesn't mean it's going to be in the final release of Warzone 2. We don't know when Warzone 2 is going to release, but of course, Modern Warfare 2 will release this fall, so it'll probably release, you know, a couple months after launch, maybe a few months after launch or longer. People are thinking right now it might not release until March of 2023, and if that is the case, we are still 10 months out from Warzone 2 releasing, so there's a lot of time for all of this to change. And like I said, this is just stuff that is in testing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make it to the final build of the game, and especially now it's been leaked, they can take that community feedback to change things. There's apparently a new weapon section called battle rifles, but they're not marksman rifles, they're in an entirely separate new category of weapons. Pro perks are apparently returning, and the source never got a chance to see what they were like in multiplayer, but they seemed just like the World War II perk system with pro perks. So it does seem like pro perks are going to be in all modes, DMZ, Warzone, as well as multiplayer in Modern Warfare 2. Apparently the intervention is not returning, nor the ACR, which is contradictory to previous leaks we had. So it seems like we're getting different leaks from different sources. This might be because you might be able to build the ACR and intervention with attachments in the gunsmith, similar to how you could build different weapons in the gunsmith in the original Modern Warfare reboot. There's apparently 5 attachments again, but not like in Vanguard, there are still 8 slots available. Like I said earlier, loadouts were not purchasable in the build that the user played, but apparently a lot of QA testers have been suggesting for them to return, so I feel like based on this feedback, they will end up adding them in at a later point. You cannot use plates until you obtain a satchel that can hold them. There's tier 1, 2, or 3 of the satchels. So yeah, there's a lot of changes to Warzone 2, making it more like a hybrid with Blackout. But again, this is all stuff in testing, not set in stone. There's apparently 4 game modes that the source saw in the menu, which are campaign, multiplayer, Warzone, and DMZ. Some guns that are going to be returning are the P90, the AK, the M4, the AK-50 sniper, the SCAR, and a weapon that was like the MP7, but you can't remember the name. Of course, the battle pass is returning. Here's the really interesting thing though, apparently Verdansk is going to be returning in some form, and it was apparently listed in Warzone Rumble. Of course, Verdansk got nuked, so maybe we're going to be able to play on small sections from Verdansk in Warzone Rumble, but on nuked Verdansk, where it's all dark, gloomy, post-apocalyptic, and destroyed. There is going to be an entirely new Warzone map for the main mode though, but Raven Software have talked about in the past that they do ideally want to have both Caldera and Verdansk, but it just couldn't fit in the game because it's just so full. In the build that the source played, slide cancelling was practically non-existent. You were able to tap circle on a PS5 controller to slide, or you can hold circle to do a dolphin dive. So yes, dolphin diving is back and is apparently super fast, and it feels like it will be abused in multiplayer if not changed. But once again, we're still far out from release, so they have time to tweak things. I don't think they're going to get rid of slide cancelling entirely, to be honest. I know Raven Software have talked about them wanting to tweak things. It is essentially a bug and it is an abuse of the system that was never intended by the developers, but so many people seem to like it. So are they going to get rid of it? I'm not exactly sure. I think they might just end up nerfing it. Again, this is just a QA tester build, so it just means they're testing out not having slide cancelling. It doesn't mean it's going to make it into the full release of the game, but it's good to see dolphin dive back, and I'm interested to see how that plays out in combination with the sliding, and hopefully that means dolphin diving can return in Treyarch's next Call of Duty game in 2024 as well, and maybe we could see traditional PhD flopper in zombies. Apparently in the build he played, there were 20 different kill streaks available, there were 11 field deploys, stims are returning, and there is going to be a firing range, which is accessible from the menu in Warzone or multiplayer or DMZ to just test out different weapons. In the build that the user played, it was super bare bones though, so it needs more work until launch, but it allows you to see the damage numbers when you actually shoot the targets. So this is going to be a very good way to test the statistics of different weapons. It's going to make it so much easier for YouTubes for doing best classes, etc., and figuring out what guns are actually the best for different scenarios. And just to close out this video, some information on the core mode called a DMZ, standing for Demilitarized Zone. Since zombies is apparently not in this game, this is obviously going to be played on large maps map similar to Warzone. You fly in, you loot, do objectives, and then you exfil at the end and bring that loot into future games. We're not exactly sure how this mode works, but like I said, it's going to be similar to Escape from Tarkov. According to the Ghost of Hope, there's going to be a marketplace to buy/trade different weapon skins, etc. There's earnable skins, blueprints, and more to use across multiplayer and Warzone. There's at least 4 maps in development, which are all unique. There's dynamic weather and day/night cycles, which could be in the Warzone map too, but the other source didn't know anything of that. There's PvP and PvP and online/offline support, and it's going to launch in beta when Modern Warfare 2 releases, since it's going to need further work with community feedback. Anyways, that's all of the rumors I had to talk about today. Once again, I need to stress, all just rumors, none of this is confirmed. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and make sure to subscribe if you're not ready for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.